Happy World Sleep Day. And thanks to daylight savings time, I'm exhausted. Let's talk about what to do about it. Oh, goodness gracious. Hello, Dr. Holly here. It has been an amazing week, a very active week for my family. As you guys know, I have an Irish background, so St. Patrick's Day being this week, and then I'm married to an Italian. So here in New Orleans, we celebrate St. Joseph's Day and our Italian comrades. So very active week, all the things happening, all the kids' activities. And on top of that, what daylight savings time? Like, what is this about? Why does the universe do this to me? The lover of sleep, the lover of integrative medicine and of helping people be healthy and keeping their brains healthy. They have looked at statistics around daylight savings time, and there's actually an increase in things such as motor vehicle accidents, heart attacks, all the negative things that can happen when we don't get enough sleep. And it's all because of this change in the hour, which really is outdated. The Sleep Academy here in the US is actually working on legislation to have us go back to standardized time and just do away with it, because there's really not a reason for it right now, other than to cause a lot of distress for moms of babies, distress for moms and dads of fur babies. All the babies, they don't care if there's a change in the clock. And then younger kids, older kids, adults, all the people don't like that there's a change in the clock. And it can cause a lot of difficulty, really just kind of feeling like you are jet lagged, because that's basically what's happening. So I thought I'd take this opportunity to give some points about what we can do when either daylight savings time comes, because it's evil, but it's still there, or if something more fun is happening and we're traveling to a different time zone. There are things that we can do to kind of adjust ourselves to help us be able to adjust more quickly and to be able to enjoy our time on this earth, whether it be to travel or to something that the government's doing to us. So first things first, of course, sleep is something that I treasure. As an integrative psychiatrist, I see a lot of folks who have circadian rhythm dependent illnesses, whether it be something like a bipolar disorder or an attention deficit disorder or anxiety, depression. All of these things are very much affected by whether or not the person's getting enough sleep, and also those changes, those subtle changes. I have a lot of folks who kind of have difficulties this week from a psychiatric standpoint. And then just the stress is no good for any of us. So looking at our sleep hygiene, it's really about getting back to the basics. So I liken our brain to a little kid, and I'm talking about the part of our brain that regulates sleep, not the intellectual part of our brain that makes us super smart, but more like the lower brain that's kind of regulating things. And I talk to my folks about treating your brain like you would your kids, or like your parents treated you if your parents were ones that were successful at getting you to go to bed on time. So that means coming up with a ritual. I talked about rituals last week. Rituals are great in that they create space for transitions. And it can be a brief transition, such as transitioning from awake time to sleep time. And it can be whatever fits you. It's very individualized. There's no, it has to be this, this, and this, or it won't work. It's something that works for you personally. So for me, turning down the lights. This is a nice way to kind of tell your brain, hey, it's dusk outside. If we were living outside in a non-industrialized world, that's what we would naturally have happen. The outdoor lights start lowering. It starts getting darker. So changing from overhead lights to lamps, for example, is a great way to start telling your brain like, hey, let's slow things down a bit. And you'll see this is helpful with kids too, turning off that big light and turning on the lamps. Other things you can do is, if you're one that responds well to a bath, remember we used to give our kiddos baths, or if you still have little ones, you may be doing this, or a warm shower, something that kind of helps your body temperature get lower, because it likes to lower to sleep, and also helps our muscles relax. And again, tells that brain that's not always the quickest when it comes to telling itself to go to sleep, that now's the time to kind of slow things down a bit and allow ourselves to relax and enter into the sleep zone. If you are one that responds well to different scents, like different like smells, then you could use things like lavender or other essential oils, whatever you find to be relaxing for you, but things that are more calming in nature. These are things, some of the nicer hotels I've noticed have started having these things available. You could put it on your pillow, on a sachet, if it's something you can wear, or just even there's lots of lotions and things like that that are of these different scents. And, I remember using that in my kids when they were babies, just to kind of, again, like things slow down a little bit, telling things that it's time to go to sleep. If you have a busy brain, which, those of us who are on this right now, this live, are all incredibly intelligent and fabulous human beings. So sometimes when you're so intelligent, your brain can't necessarily turn off, right? So having some type of way to transition your brain. When I was working at the VA, I would talk to my veterans about maybe looking at an earlier newscast, or if you're looking at the late news, maybe looking at like a friendlier news, one that's less likely to be showing you all the things that are happening in the world that are so distressing and that might keep you up at night, but maybe have music and things that are less stressful. So, if you are a news watcher or a news person, being mindful of when you're looking at those things, or when you're looking at maybe different shows that might be triggering for you. Like maybe you're whatever, I don't even know what show, but maybe there's a show out there that causes nightmares for you or causes you to have difficult memories. It might be something that you enjoy in the daylight hours, like I love me some SVU, but I'm not going to watch that necessarily right before I go to bed, because it's just something that might keep my brain up, like thinking about what happened to her. So just being mindful of like what you're bringing in as far as what you're watching, if you're a TV watcher, or even on social media. Sometimes folks will talk about getting on social media, scrolling to like get their busy brain to slow down. Be mindful of what you're scrolling. If you find that that's something that is helpful for you as part of your regimen or your ritual that you're building for yourself, maybe consider things like mindfulness apps, whether it be like a Calm app, Insight Timer, all of the things. I don't want to, I'm not being paid to say any one in particular, but if there's one that speaks to you, or if you have your own music collection or sound machine that kind of helps the brain kind of slow down. If you're one that, I call myself a professional planner, but really it's like worrying. So if you like to worry or plan, as I like to call it, then maybe I invite you to consider doing a journal. You could journal whatever thoughts and feelings you have in the evening, let them be loose on the paper so then your mind can be free of them. If you're one that's struggling with a mood issue or feeling very down, very stressed, very negative, like your mind is kind of in a negative space, I invite you to consider gratitude journaling. That's where you look back on your day and think of 3 things that you're grateful for. And it doesn't have to be big things. It could be like, I'm grateful that that person let me get in front of them when I was driving because it made me feel seen. Like because is important to include, because it helps your brain not only like check the box that something positive happened, but think about why it was positive to you. And believe it or not, that helps your brain with time to start noticing more positive things. And that with time actually has been found to improve mood and to improve your happiness. This has actually been studied by the folks in Berkeley. So I invite you to consider that practice if you are looking for maybe something to journal about, or find that journaling for you goes to a dark place. This might be another practice you could put into your toolbox. So music is good. If you're going to look at things like news, trying to do them earlier in the day, or, any kind of shows that might be triggering doing them earlier. Speaking of TV, it's really important to try to not have the TV in the bedroom. We talk, those of us who study sleep and study the integrative space, talk about using the bedroom for sleep and sex only. Have it be a safe space that is only your brain, again, brain, not so smart, lower brain, is learning what that space is used for. So if you don't be like I was when I was a resident and studying for my boards and doing all the things, and I would be in bed and like falling asleep over my notes, and I was not living my best life. And shocker, I needed medication to help me sleep, because my brain was thinking, oh, bedroom, this is where we study, this is where we worry about the board exam, and this is where we do all the things, instead of leaving that in my office space or at my desk or wherever I want to create a space for that, a sacred space for that in my living space or office space, and then having the bedroom be just for sleep and sex. That's it. That's all it is. The brain doesn't need to keep it simple. Just make it so the brain can understand that this is the space where we relax and go to sleep. So I invite you to consider that. Look at your practices. Look at what you're doing in your bedroom. And trying not to go to bed if you're having difficult conversations. I wouldn't save those till right before bedtime, because again, that's like a difficult TV show or a news channel. Like, these are not things your brain needs to hear or deal with before trying to relax and go to sleep. So, keeping things in a good place with your partner. If, partners have different issues, especially as we get older. So if maybe one has a CPAP machine that's keeping the other one awake, or one is snoring, or what have you, it's okay to sleep in different bedrooms. Like, there's nothing wrong with this. The Brady Bunch did it. They were super happy. It's okay to do that and have your sexy time at a different point in time. That's okay. Whatever works for you and your family, totally good. No judgment, whatever works to make sure you're getting your sleep, so that when you're together, you can be your most pleasant self and enjoy your best life. So with that, I invite you to think about what you're doing around bedtime, and to think about those rituals that I've talked about, how you can create a safe space, turning down the lights, maybe using some scented oils or candles or whatever safe in your house to maybe create an environment that feels inviting and loving to yourself. If you want to do things like a bath or a shower or any type of thing to help your body relax, it could be a guided meditation, like a body scan, whatever like it feels good to you. There's yoga nidra is a type of yoga that you can do that is helpful for sleep. And those are things you can find on a lot of these apps or on YouTube or what have you. So all of these things are things to consider, whatever works best for you and your brain. And then for the busy brains, not bringing those things into the bedroom, having designated times. If you're a worrier, having a designated worry time that's not right before bedtime. Consider some journaling for gratitude if you're finding that you're going through a difficult time and need some help refocusing that energy, especially right before bed. Meditation is one I didn't mention, but it is super helpful, whether it be a guided meditation, some guided imagery, or some breathing, or a body scan. Whatever speaks to you is going to be what works, and try different things on. If it doesn't work tonight, maybe it'll work tomorrow, or maybe you can try something different. Please, I invite you to share what's worked for you below to help our community, so that we can get ideas from each other. And I'm always gathering ideas around sleep because it's so important, and it's something that I really want to help all my people improve upon. So sending lots of love. You can reach out to me, darawellnessnola.com. If this sounds inviting to you, I actually have a free course there for using integrative psychiatry to improve things like sleep or anxiety or stress. So if any of this sounds like, hey, that kind of jives and she's talking about me, maybe check that course out for some free information. I hope it serves you. And just stay in touch.